seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield IMG College. The Demon Deacons are here.
Touchdown, 96 yards, Kenneth Walker.
Wake Forest hangs on to beat North Carolina.
Intercepted by Wake Forest on the boundary.
Touchdown, Wake Forest.
Wake Forest recovers.
A new NCAA record for Nick Skiba.
Wake Forest defeats Florida State.
Touchdown, Wake Forest.
This is the Dave Clawson Show on the Wake Forest Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Tonight's show is brought to you by Bibbs Downtown. It's not Eastern or Western, it's Western. Truist, the new name for better banking. Founded on the belief that with better products and services, we can inspire and build better lives and communities. BB&T and SunTrust are now Truist. By Bud Light, whenever there's a game to watch, there's a Bud there. By Stevenson Millwork Company, woodwork of distinction since 1945. Pepsi, made for football watching, so grab an ice-cold Pepsi and get in the game. Pepsi, the official soft drink of Wake Forest football. And by Wake Forest Baptist Health. From game day to every day, Wake Forest Baptist Health Sports Medicine gets you back in the game. With same-day, next-day appointments available. Send your question for Coach Clawson to our Wake Forest alumni inbox. WakeRadio@LearfieldIMGCollege.com or tweet at StanCottonWF. Now, here's your host, the voice of the Deeks, Stan Cotton.
Okay, Carl Shannon, thank you very much, and welcome into Dave Clawson Show number 3. We're already 3 weeks in to our 14-show schedule. One game in the books, another game coming up this week. So off we roll on the 2020 college football season. Welcome everyone into the program, and a very special welcome to those of you watching tonight on the Deacon Virtual Ticket. If you don't know what that is, or if you need to get more information on that, simply go to godeeks.com. You can get all signed up, and you can watch as well as listen to the program. Wake Forest will be at North Carolina State on Saturday night at Carter Finley Stadium down in Raleigh, 8 o'clock Eastern Time kick. Our broadcast on the Wake Forest Sports Network from Learfield IMG College rolls your way at 7 p.m. Of course, the Deeks come off the game this past week, the opener with the Clemson Tigers at home. Clemson wins the game 37-13. The Tigers looking every bit as billed as one of the best, if not the best team in college football. So with that said, we'll bring in the coach of the Deeks. Coach, how are we doing? I got to warn you that the German Shepherds are active tonight. They're active. I don't know what's into them. So it's you and me and maybe in Boone and Gracie. We'll see. So who knows?
Just bring them on. You're more than welcome to give them a 15-minute segment if you want.
Well, we will have Larry Sorensen tonight. We'll visit with, is it Taylor Morin or Taylor Morin? We'll find out from Taylor himself tonight exactly how you say his last name. So we'll have that coming up. We'll have the play of the week. We'll have Coach's Wake Forest Baptist Health game diagnosis after the first time out. But Coach, a weekend, how are we feeling? Went fairly well with regard to kids getting banged up. You and I were talking about that before we came on. But one weekend, how you doing? How you feel?
Well, I mean, the life of a coach, when you lose a game, you're miserable. So, I mean, I'm glad we stayed relatively healthy. We did some good things, but we're 0-1. And we need to get better. We need to improve, not just physically, but there was a lot of things that happened in that game that you can't do against anybody, let alone the number one team in the country. So, they always say teams improve the most from week 1 to week 2. There's certainly a lot of areas for improvement that we need to make, and we're hard at work trying to get those things fixed.
You mentioned yesterday in your press conference just the emotion of playing a game. You're kind of trying to gather yourself before your team, coming up with the words you want to leave them with before you go out there, and it kind of hits you, all the things that you've been through. I wonder if you would revisit that, because I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, just so much has happened in the world, in our country, on our football team in the last 6 months. And there certainly were times in the last, 2 to 3 months that I didn't think we'd ever get there. And quite honestly, when we first brought our football team back, I think if you talk to a lot of people on campus, they didn't think there was any way that we'd be able to manage this and play a football game. And, just reflecting on the last 6 months and all the effort that went into this by so many people, by President Hatch, by John Curry, by our medical professionals. Dr. Miles has done a phenomenal job. Our director of football operations, Jordan Jerry, Chris Hanks, our football trainer. I mean, these guys put so much into it. And then our players and staff and all the sacrifices they made so that we could play football again. And we got there, and there was a kickoff, and we played a game. And I told our team before the game that when that thing kicks off, that's our first victory. But our standard, that's not what we came here for. We wanted to come and win and play at a level that we feel represents Wake Forest in our program. And but again, it was emotional just thinking about everything that we've been through and all the preparation just to get there.
And again, the game kicked off at Truist Field, and the Tigers win it again by the final of 37-13. So now the Deacs head on the road. They'll play the NC State Wolfpack. And again, that game starts at 8 o'clock over at Carter Finley. We'll get to your questions a little bit later. A couple of ways you can get to us inside the Wake Forest alumni inbox. You can email us, long address, wakeradio@learfieldimgcollege.com. Again, wakeradio@learfieldimgcollege.com. For you folks on Twitter, you can tweet right to me if you'd prefer, @StanCottonWF. We're going to take our first time out. When we come back, it's tonight's Wake Forest Baptist Health Game Week Diagnosis with the coach of the Deacs, Dave Clawson, right after you hear this.
24 Thunder! When an injury or pain keeps you from being your best, finish strong and start here.
Dan, I'm going to eliminate the background.
Baptist Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Our
my shoulders
official team doctors
looked like I was lifting weights or something.
College and youth sports organizations, including Wake Forest Athletics, can provide expert care for children, adults, and athletes. Schedule your appointment by calling 336-716-WAKE. Wake Forest Baptist Health, keeping you COVID-19 protected.
Right now, we all want to focus on what matters most. And with BB&T Checking, you can rest assured knowing the security of your account, card, and ID is our top priority. We provide debit card controls that let you lock your card and set spending limits directly on our mobile app. We also provide interactive fraud alerts and facial recognition for enhanced security so you can feel secure and supported. Go to bbt.com/checking to open an account today. BB&T, now Truist, member FDIC.
Live coverage of the Dave Clawson Show continues after this on the Wake Forest Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
This Friday and every Friday this football season, celebrate your fandom and support for our local businesses with special Wake Forest Friday deals. This year, our friends at Village Juice Company will be offering 10% off on any order for Demon Deacon fans who show up proudly wearing their black and gold. Visit the Village Juice Company's locations on South Stratford Road, downtown Winston-Salem, or Charlotte to take advantage of this special offer. For more information about this offer and other Wake Forest Friday deals, visit godeeks.com/WF Friday. Go Deeks and go to Village Juice Company on Wake Forest Fridays.
Forget what you think you know about carpet. Valera high-performance carpet from Shaw Floors is designed for beauty and performance. From top to bottom, Valera is built for protection, combining unbeatable fiber technology and stain resistance with superior backing. This carpet blocks spills and pet accidents from soaking through to your subfloor. Perfect for active homes requiring the cleanest carpet for healthy living. No surprises, no worries, just beautiful carpet. Visit the experts today at Clemens Carpet for all of your carpet and flooring needs. Go Deeks and go Clemens Carpet.
Want your question answered by Coach Clawson? Our Wake Forest alumni inbox is available at wakeradio@learfieldimgcollege.com or tweet @StanCottonWF. Now, back to the show with your host, Stan Cotton.
Okay, off and running here, first half hour of the Dave Clawson Show, already show number 3 of 2020. We are not at Bibbs. disappointed that we're not at Bibbs, but one day soon. One day soon, hopefully, we'll be at Bibbs and Coach can get his requisite turkey and collards, and I'll get, I don't know, whatever you get there, it's awesome, right, Coach? I mean, we miss it, but we understand, right?
Yeah, something to look forward to. And when we get there, we'll probably appreciate it even more.
Time now for the Wake Forest Baptist Health Game Week Diagnosis, brought to you by Wake Forest Baptist Health, the official team doctors of the Demon Deacs. All right, Coach, your diagnosis of, you've mentioned it already a little bit, the Clemson game, really good team, came out with defensively, great start, got the big sack from Boogie and got him off the field, got the offense off the field. But your take on just the game, how it went and how it shook out.
Well, we got a good stop, and then we made a few first downs. I would have loved to get that pass interference call going in. That was a big no call. Against a team like that in a game like that, to get ahead and get the lead. But I would say my overall take is this, that we moved the ball against them better than we have the previous 2 or 3 years. Certainly since 17, but too many field goals, and then we didn't hit those. Threw the ball well. It was exciting to see some of our young receivers make good plays on the perimeter. Donovan Green showed up. I thought our 2 slots, Ja'Cory Roberson and Taylor Marin, both played really well. Clemson's a hard team to run the ball against, and we've got to have more balance than we had. Defensively, we were just a step behind. We had some communication issues down in the red zone that really hurt us. We were mixing and matching the secondary a little bit because of some injuries and contact tracing and those type of things, and just never settled down. So there's a lot to work on, but like I said the other day, there was a lot of bright spots. I think A.J. Williams, Zion Keith, getting Peyton Woolard in there for a little bit, Ty Hardiman playing him. We had some young guys that really haven't played for us that we got them time in the secondary. And if we can start getting guys back, I think will really help our depth.
Yeah, Zion Keith, third year in the program out of South Carolina. Maybe he was jacked up because the Tigers were in town, but talk about his play a little bit more. I mean, we called his name an awful lot, double-digit tackles, and he just seemed to be almost everywhere.
Well, Zion's gotten a lot of reps. What happened was Nasir Greer was still recovering from his ACL that he suffered in the Syracuse game last year. So, Nasir's been running with the ones a lot as our front side safety. And then, Nasir got cleared and we thought we were going to split time. And then we ended up being down a lot of corners. And Nasir knows the defense so well, and he's such an unselfish young man that we said we moved him to corner 2 days before the game because we thought he could handle that, and that allowed Zion to play at safety. And I just think he felt comfortable back there. He had gotten a lot of reps. He knows the defense better. And against high-level competition, he did some really good things. So I think that's anytime you can get a performance like that in a game like that, that's a +1 for our defense, that he's somebody moving forward I think we can really count on.
We talked a lot last week about leadership and the different ways that players show that. A guy like Nasir, when he says, "Coach, I'll play tackle if you want me to. Just tell me what you need," and he goes and does that. What does that do for the other guys, especially the younger ones, who watch that and see him leading by example like that?
Well, it sets the example that the most important thing is team success. If there's a player, Nasir's an all-conference safety who worked his butt off to rehab from an ACL, and then he gets cleared. And then 2 days before playing the #1 team in the country, we ask him to play a position he hasn't played. No hesitation. And I think that sets an example to the rest of our team. It's about the team first. And by the way, it's Nasir's 21st birthday today. So we want to wish him a happy birthday, and we're so incredibly proud of him. And what a great young man and a great representative of Wake Forest University and our football program.
And I think Wake Forest golf coach Jay Haas has a birthday today too. So happy birthday to Jay. Happy birthday to Nasir Greer, who played a fine game. That's a pretty speedy recovery, isn't it, for him coming off the ACL in Syracuse? I mean, he's full speed. That's pretty fast.
Yeah, he just worked so incredibly hard. I mean, he was so determined to come back and not miss time. And I mean, he was in that training room all the time. And even over the pandemic, our trainers did a great job of making sure that he could get to a rehab clinic where he lives in Georgia and wouldn't fall too far behind. And he was just so diligent and so conscientious about his rehab, like he is everything. And it's really remarkable. I'm incredibly proud of him. And he's just a really outstanding young man.
Yeah, I think that reveals a lot about him too, the way he worked so hard to get back after a horrible injury like that. All right, we're going to take another timeout. We got questions in the queue inside the Wake Forest alumni inbox. You can shoot us one too. You can email us wakeradio@learfieldimgcollege.com, or you can tweet right to me at Stan Cotton WF. A little bit later, we'll have the ABC 45 play of the week. Larry Sorensen visits with Taylor, the wideout who wears number 83. We'll learn how to really say his last name. It's been said 2 or 3 different ways. And all that's coming up a little bit later. Right now, a timeout. As you listen to the Dave Clawson Show from the Wake Forest Sports Network and Learfield IMG College.
Get your ice cold Bud Light Seltzer here. Even though you can't go to the game, doesn't mean the game can't be brought to you now here. Just go to budlight.com/delivery. That's budlight.com/delivery.
Give me 2 mangoes.
Coming at you. It's a little short. Ow. Sorry. You know what? I'm just going to walk them over to you.
Whenever there's a game to watch, there's a Bud Light there. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, and Bud Light Seltzer, IRC Beer in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri.
What made Steve say?
I knew this answer was going to be good. Name something from the C that starts with the letter C.
Calamari.
That's not what it's called when it's in the C. I knew this answer was going to be good. Sure want to catch me some calamari.
Family Feud.
What you fishing for, calamari?
Family Feud, weeknights at 7 and 7:30 on ABC 45.
Coverage of Wake Forest football with head coach Dave Clawson continues after this word from your local station. This is Wake Forest football from Learfield IMG College.
Forget what you think you know about carpet. Valera high-performance carpet from Shaw Floors is designed for beauty and performance. From top to bottom, Valera is built for protection, combining unbeatable fiber technology and stain resistance with superior backing. This carpet blocks spills and pet accidents from soaking through to your subfloor. Perfect for active homes requiring the cleanest carpet for healthy living. No surprises, no worries, just beautiful carpet. Visit the experts today at Clemens Carpet for all of your carpet and flooring needs. Go Deeks and go Clemens Carpet.
Can't make it to Truist Field this season, but don't want to miss a second of the Wake Forest football season? The new Deacon Virtual Season Ticket is your answer. Exclusive videos, photos, written content, and digital experiences delivered right to your computer and mobile device. Activate the premium level membership for only $179. Visit godeeks.com/virtual ticket to activate your Deacon Virtual Season Ticket today.
You're listening to the Dave Clawson Show. Ask your question to the head coach of the Deeks right now. Wake Radio at LearfieldIMGCollege.com. Our inbox is powered by the Wake Forest alumni. Now back to the voice of the Deeks, Stan Cotton.
Yeah, you folks are listening, and some of you are also watching on the Deacon Virtual Ticket. More info, as you just heard, godeeks.com. I'm virtual. I'm at the house. Coach is virtual. He's at the house. And we are set to answer your questions. We'll go to Twitter first. Brian, Coach, with a question you referenced in a moment ago. Do you expect that Brian wants to know the normal bounce in Game 2 performance that a lot of teams will typically achieve. And Brian, thanks for the tweet. Coach, what do you think? Moving on to week 2 this week against State.
I mean, I do. You think about it really, Donovan Green made one of his first starts. Taylor Marin and Ja'Cory Roberson really played a lot for the first time. Torian Perry, Nolan Gruhl, Sam Hartman started for the first time since the one-game Florida State. Christian Beal, 3 new offensive linemen, a bunch of guys on defense. Those guys have now been in a game. They understand the pace, the communication that has to happen. And I'd be very disappointed if we don't come out a better football team this Saturday.
You have played a game. NC State will be playing its opener. The Pack was supposed to play last week with Virginia Tech. The game was moved. So now, State's got some video to look at. You have last year. What the dynamic of that? How much will that affect your prep? And certainly they've seen you once, and that helps.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly have an advantage having played a game. They have an advantage that they've been able to prep for us the last 2.5 weeks without another opponent. And, there's a little bit of uncertainty with NC State this year. After last season, Coach Doran made some changes on his staff. He had co-coordinators on defense. Now he has a solo coordinator. And he made changes with his co-coordinators on offense and hired Coach Beck from the University of Texas, who had been at Ohio State. And, is he installing a new offense? Is he going to run what he ran at Texas or what they did at Ohio State, or how much of the NC State offense are they going to keep in? And, there's a lot of uncertainty, and that's always the concern with game 1. But they've seen what we're doing. We have no idea what they're going to do. So I think those things balance out. I like the fact that we've played a game, but, NC State could come out on Saturday and do things completely foreign to what we've studied. And that's always a challenge in an opener, but, they'll have an idea how we're lining up. We'll have no idea how they're lining up.
If they come out in the single wing now, you just buzz the press box. I'll help you with that. Okay.
I will. And I'll do some genealogy tracing, and, I'm sure there's some relation to Stan Cotton.
Oh gosh.
Quarterback of that caliber to bring back the single wing.
Just in terms of personnel, Clemson State had so many people hurt last year. But as you look at the state depth chart, what do you remember from last year with some of these kids, and what kind of effort maybe do you anticipate? I'm sure they'll be jacked to play their first game. They're at home and all that kind of stuff.
NC State's a good program. I mean, they had 5 consecutive winning seasons until last year. They had so many injuries. Nobody could survive what they went through. I don't care how well you've recruited, how much depth you have. They just got completely decimated. I mean, they were moving receivers and safeties to play corner. Dave's done a great job there, and he's recruited well, and they've got really good players. And what we saw last year was just a small version of what they're capable of. And a lot of times when you get hurt, it's tough, but the advantage is you're able to play all these younger players maybe before they're ready. And now those guys are back with experience. So on offense, they've got 10 starters back. They got 4 of their offensive line starters. The 5th guy was a guy that would have started a year ago, but he got hurt. They've got their top 3 tight ends, their top 4 running backs, their top 5 receivers, their top 3 quarterbacks. They're talented, and Amizi and Riley, and these guys are really good receivers. And they average, I think, 315 or 320 up front on the O-line. And they graduated a lot more on defense, but they didn't graduate their production. They still have about 60, 70% of their tackles back. And so the Wilson, the linebacker, more the linebacker, and Tanner Engel were 3 of their leading tacklers a year ago, and those guys are all back for them. So they've got about 80% of their offensive production back and about 60 to 70% of their tackles back. So they're a good football team. This is going to be a very challenging game.
Wake and State at Carter Finley, one of the oldest rivalries in college football. 7 o'clock airtime, again, just after 8 o'clock Eastern time, the kick as the Deacs and the Pack get after it on Saturday night. We're going to take a timeout, and when we come back, we'll have this week's WXLV ABC 45 Play of the Week as you listen to the Dave Clawson Show.
This football season,
Disappointed.
prepare your taste buds for the most iconic sports watching drink of all time.
I wanted to talk about Stan Cotton, the single wing quarterback there for a while.
Keep your eye on the ball.
Never played the single wing.
To help you power through game day.
He ran the
Pepsi
veer.
has everything you need
We
to
did.
start
Split
strong.
back veer.
Ran the veer.
When Mike cheered so hard, he spilled
So
nacho cheese
I
in the
actually
carpet, but
played
thanks
in a
to Pepsi,
version of the
even
single
Mike
wing in
can't
high
ruin
school.
my football
Did you really?
So
this football season, make
Were you the
Pepsi
quarterback?
your go-to game
Quarterback,
day drink
my-
because it's
our
the
high
only drink made for
school tailback
football
was
watching.
Gerald Johnson.
Pepsi, that's what I love.
Really?
he became, a great player for the
When
Dallas
an injury or
Cowboys.
pain keeps you from being your best,
And they would
finish
line
strong
Daryl
and
up in the
start
single
here
wing.
at
The
Wake Forest
quarterback
Baptist Health
would shift
Orthopedics
and
and
be a
Sports
lead
Medicine.
blocker.
Our orthopedic specialists are
Crazy.
official team
Daryl
doctors
was
for
just
over
so
35
talented.
pro,
Yeah.
college, and youth sports
He could do
organizations,
everything.
including Wake Forest Athletics,
So-
and provide expert care for children, adults, and
When did
athletes.
that kind of
Schedule
die
your
out?
appointment by calling 336
I think the last college that ran it was Denison up in
Wake
Ohio.
Forest Baptist Health, keeping you
They had a
COVID-19
longtime coach that ran
Live coverage of the Dave Clawson
I
Show
think they ran
continues
it
after this on the Wake
some
Forest
point into the
Sports Network
1990s.
from Learfield
Really?
IMG
Whenever he
College.
retired, they ended it. But I believe Denison was the last school that ran it as their primary offense.
It's back. The return of the prestigious Learfield IMG College Directors
The
Cup.
heck, a lot of these
College sports
spread and
excellence
single
across all
wings
competitive
are,
divisions, both men's and women's
Wildcats are
sports. Follow along with
really
L
just
Directors
different
Cup on
versions of
Twitter
it.
Yeah.
or online to see which
It's,
schools will be taking
when Johnny
home a first
Majors
place trophy in June for
was
their
runner-up to Paul
season-long
Hornung for the
success.
Heisman Trophy in
Learfield IMG
50.
College Directors Cup, a premier
6
institutional
maybe, something
award
like that.
jointly
That's
launched
Tennessee,
in
that's all they did
1993 by
at the
USA
time.
Today and
And he
NACDA.
was, Majors was the quarterback.
Get all the news you want
I
and need
played
on
for
ABC
Bob
45.
Odell
Start your day with
at
Good Morning
Williams.
America weekdays from
Yeah.
7 to 9.
He was
and
a runner-up
weekends
to
at
the
8. At 1
Heisman.
o'clock, it's GMA3.
I
What
think
you need to
sometime
know,
in the
keeping you informed with the
1940s.
latest
I
and
didn't
most
know that.
recent updates about the
And
coronavirus.
I think he won the
Join us
Maxwell
every
Award,
evening at
but he
6:30
was, I
for
believe,
World
a
News
wing
Tonight with
T
David Muir. Bringing you
quarterback
the
at
day's most
University of
important
Pennsylvania.
headlines. Finish
Wow.
up your day with Nightline
Didn't
at
know that.
12:06 a.m. and we give you in-depth reporting on news and events. The place to get all your news is on ABC 45.
Welcome back to the Dave Clawson Show on the Wake Forest Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. It's time now for tonight's Play of the Week, presented by WXLV ABC 45.
Third down, 9 Wake. Possession down here for the Dig. Snap back to Hartman. Looks left and long down the sideline for Donovan Green. And he goes up and makes the catch at the Tiger 35-yard line. And that's what Donovan Green gives you. Great talent, great effort. And he went way up to get it right on top of the corner, Andrew Booth.
Coach, we selected that play. I almost went with A.J. Williams' interception that set up your touchdown, but hopefully we see Hartman to Green an awful lot on Saturday and every single week. And I just think, obviously, those two are going to play, hopefully going to be kind of a battery for a number of years now. And that was a pretty good play. And Donovan did some good things, as did Sam Hartman. And as you mentioned yesterday, not necessarily by Donovan Green, but threw a lot of good balls that should have been caught.
Yeah, I mean, when you play against Clemson, you got to hit deep balls, and we hit a couple of them. Donovan had the one, and Ja'Cory Roberson had a couple that he made nice plays on. But I think we dropped a few that we should have had. And, I go back to 2016. We opened with Tulane, and John Wolford was our quarterback, and this was his third year as our quarterback. And we had all these new toys, all these really good young receivers that we were so excited to get going. Scotty Washington and Stephen Claude and Alex Bachman. And those guys had a rough night. But to their credit, they kept working, they kept pushing. And now those guys are, Scotty's in the NFL, Bachman's in the NFL. Those guys became good players. And you can practice all you want until you do it under the lights and get used to it. It's different. And I really hope at so many positions across the board, this year is going to be about growth, about this is a team that's got to get better every week. It's got to grow up because of our youth, especially on offense. And I just expect those guys to get better and better because Donovan, Torian, Jamal Banks, Nolan Gruhl, Donald Stewart, Taylor Marin, Ja'Cory Roberson, Keyshawn Williams. I think we got some guys that have some really, really high-end talent. They just don't have the experience that Scotty, Sage, Kendall Hinton, and those guys had.
Coach, let's go to the Wake Forest alumni inbox. An email from Chad. He wants to know if you think the biggest thing from keeping Wake competitive with a team like Clemson is on the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball.
I mean, it's hard to say one thing. I would say it certainly starts there. If you can't function up front, then really what you have in the perimeter doesn't matter. I thought our defensive line played pretty well. We didn't hold up on the perimeter. I mean, you look at Trevor Lawrence's numbers, he threw the ball for 350 yards and, at times guys were too wide open. I don't know how many times we even made the throw difficult. The one that he hit Amari Rodgers on early was a difficult throw, but, guys were pretty open. But I'd say it starts up front. And once you can be competitive up front, now it really becomes a perimeter game. And that's where Clemson's tough. There's not a position that they're not really good at.
How'd you feel after the game compared to last year, maybe?
I mean, probably a little bit better just because I thought we competed better. There's a handful of games, Stan, in my career and since I've been at Wake, that when the game's over, you really do some soul searching and you say, what happened? And we didn't compete. And it hasn't happened a lot here. But certainly the Clemson game a year ago was not one of our better moments. We had injuries. Yes, we missed Sage and Scotty, but I just didn't come out of that game saying we competed, that we gave it our best shot. I didn't feel that way after this game. I felt we came out there believing we could win. I thought guys competed. I thought they played with effort. There was never a point. There was never a quit. The offense kept moving the ball. We got some of those young quarterbacks in there and they did good things. And I just thought our team showed a lot more fight. We didn't execute as well as we needed to, but the competitiveness and all that stuff, I felt much better about that than the last 2 years.
We are halfway home on tonight's edition of the Dave Clawson Show. We're going to take a timeout. Coach, you can take a little bit of a break, not as long as last week or the week before, but a little break. You can have maybe a second shredded turkey sandwich. We're going to hear from Larry and Taylor on the other side of the timeout. More of y'all's questions for the coach of the Deacs after this on the Dave Clawson Show.
Right now, we all want to focus on what matters most. And with BB&T checking, you can rest assured knowing the security of your account, card, and ID is our top priority. We provide debit card controls that let you lock your card and set spending limits directly on our mobile app. We also provide interactive fraud alerts and facial recognition for enhanced security so you can feel secure and supported. Go to bbt.com/checking to open an account today. BB&T, now Truist, member FDIC.
This football season, prepare your taste buds for the most iconic sports watching drink of all time, Pepsi. With refreshing deliciousness specially formulated to keep your eye on the ball and mouth-watering fizziness to help you power through game day, Pepsi has everything you need to start strong.
I used to care when Mike cheered so hard he spilled nacho cheese on my carpet, but thanks to Pepsi, even Mike can't ruin my football party.
So this football season, make Pepsi your go-to game day drink because it's the only drink made for football watching. Pepsi, that's what I like.
Coverage of Wake Forest football with head coach Dave Clawson continues after this word from your local station. This is Wake Forest football from Learfield IMG College.
Can't make it to Truist Field this season, but don't want to miss a second of the Wake Forest football season? The new Deacon Virtual Season Ticket is your answer. Exclusive videos, photos, written content, and digital experiences delivered right to your computer and mobile device. Activate the premium level membership for only $179. Visit godeeks.com/virtual ticket to activate your Deacon virtual season ticket today.
It's back, the return of the prestigious Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, honoring college sports excellence across all competitive divisions, both men's and women's sports. Follow along with L Directors Cup on Twitter or online to see which schools will be taking home a first place trophy in June for their season-long success. Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, a premier institutional award jointly launched in 1993 by USA Today and NACDA.
Want your question answered by Coach Clawson? Our Wake Forest alumni inbox is available at wakeradio@learfieldimgcollege.com or tweet at StanCottonWF. Now, back to the show with your host, Stan Cotton.
Carl Shannon, thank you very much. We'll get to your questions a little bit later when we bring Coach back in. Right now, we're going to let you listen into a little conversation that Larry Sorensen had yesterday with old number 83. Going to figure out how to actually say his last name. A lot of us have been saying it one way. A lot of folks have been saying it another, and we find out. So here's Larry Sorensen.
There are coming out parties, and then there are explosions onto the scene. And Taylor, you came out and made a big impression against a great team on Saturday night against Clemson. 9 catches, 93 yards, 3 punt returns, 38 yards. How did you feel about your performance?
I felt great. I mean, although it wasn't the outcome that we had wanted, I think that we had a lot of young guys go out there and compete for 60 minutes, and I think we're gonna go and watch the film, and we're gonna learn from it and move on to week 2 against NC State.
It's been such an unusual year with everything going on. How much can you learn from something like that against a team where everybody's in a little bit of a different situation, and all of a sudden you're facing the number 1 team in the country? How easy is it to pull things out of that?
Oh, I think it's an awesome opportunity because you look at them and their aspirations of going to college football playoff, winning a national title, and I think you really get a really good sense of where you're at on the field. I mean, especially with us having so many young guys that we need to get evaluated and see where they're at. And what a better opportunity than to do it against the number 1 team in the country, and that's really the standard of college football.
And national television and everything else, and all of a sudden here's Taylor Morin from Centerville, Virginia, that's bouncing onto the scene. Stan asked Sam before the game last week if there's one guy that you could pick out that we're going to be talking about after the game, who's it going to be? And guess who he picked? He said Taylor Morin, by the way. You can straighten that out with him. Why do you think that is, that he picked you out?
I think that me and Sam had a good offseason together, although it was cut short by COVID. We were able to get here in June and July and really build a relationship by throwing the football around a little bit and getting to know one another. So I'd probably say that's the number 1 reason why.
I want to talk about the punt returns just a little bit because you're not all that big. You're 5'10" and a half, about 180. What's it like back there, knowing that as you're waiting for the ball to come down, you've got Clemson, who's maybe a half step faster than a lot of teams that you're going to play against? Just give me a feeling what it's like waiting for the ball to come down in your first game, although you caught a couple punts against Clemson again last year.
Right. No, I mean, probably the one word that stick out to me is exhilarating. It's really a feeling that you can't describe. You think about all those guys and how big and how strong and how tough they are, but you kind of need to tune that out and focus on the football and make good decisions and kind of get a feel on the area around you, how much space you have and stuff like that, whether you're going to fair catch it, whether you're going to let it hit the ground and stuff like that. But overall, very, very exhilarating experience, I'd go to say.
Was there any one thing that happened Saturday night that you said to yourself, oh, baby, I can't wait to get back and let everybody see that one on film?
There was, I want to say it it was a screen pass on offense that I had caught the ball, and I was working off my blocks, and then I forget who hit me, but I think it was one of their bigger inside linebackers. But he got a good lick on me, and I came over to the sideline, and the trainers were all checking in on me and making sure that I was okay. And I'm like, I'm fine. Like, it honestly didn't really hurt as bad as it looked. But I mean, I went back and watched that on film, but I got hit and spun in a spin cycle.
So seriously, the one thing that you remember most is taking a big hit?
Well, I mean, as far as the one thing I was going to go back and point out to my teammates was that hit, yeah.
So it's kind of a, hey, don't you guys mess with me, take a look at that kind of thing.
Right. Well, also, I hadn't been hit really in a year and a half to 2 years because I redshirted last year. So, I mean, getting that feeling back, I really had forgot what that felt like.
Well, now you know, and you'll remember. Hope you don't take any big ones on Saturday night against NC State. Thanks for spending some time with us, and good luck the rest of the way. We'll be talking to you soon.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Thank you for taking your time.
All right. That is Larry Sorensen with Taylor Morin. How about that? We're all saying it wrong, Coach. Morin. Here's how we have to remember that. How much did you have, son? I don't know, but I know I had more than he did. Morin. So we stand corrected, right?
He's an impressive young man. I mean, he's really bright, extremely hard worker, and you can just tell from that interview just how humble he is. So we're, again, I think we've got a lot of exciting days ahead with Taylor. Yeah, articulate kid, smart kid. I really like him. And a lot of folks have been talking about this is a guy that is gonna make a name for himself at Wake. We're excited for him. All right, another timeout. When we come back, we'll start shooting off these questions rapid fire when we come back. As you listen to the Dave Clawson Show from the Wake Forest Sports Network and Learfield IMG College.
Get your ice cold Bud Light Seltzer here. Even though you can't go to the game, doesn't mean the game can't be brought to you now here. Just go to budlight.com/delivery. That's budlight.com/delivery.
Give me 2 mangoes.
Coming at you. It's a little short. Ow. Sorry. You know what? I'm just going to walk them over to you.
Whenever there's a game to watch, there's a Bud Light there. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, and Bud Light Seltzer, IRC Beer, beer in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri.
Black 24 Thunder! When an injury or pain keeps you from being your best, finish strong and start here at Wake Forest Baptist Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Our orthopedic specialists are official team doctors for over 35 pro, college, and youth sports organizations, including Wake Forest Athletics, and provide expert care for children, adults, and athletes. Schedule your appointment by calling 336-716-WAKE. Wake Forest Baptist Health, keeping you COVID-19 protected.
Live coverage of the Dave Clawson Show continues after this on the Wake Forest Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
It's back. The return of the prestigious Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, honoring college sports excellence across all competitive divisions, both men's and women's sports. Follow along with L Directors Cup on Twitter or online to see which schools will be taking home a first place trophy in June for their season-long success. Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, a premier institutional award jointly launched in 1993 by USA Today and NACDA.
Download the all-new Wake Forest Sports Game Day app today. Up-to-the-minute game day news available right on your phone. Interactive game updates, official sideline gear, live stats, free live audio, comprehensive game day maps, real-time social streams, and more. Available in the App Store and Google Play. Listen to Deacon broadcasts for free anywhere around the world and get all the latest in Demon Deacon sports. The Wake Forest Sports Game Day app. Download today.
You're listening to the Dave Clawson Show. Ask your question to the head coach of the Deacs right now. Wake Radio at LearfieldIMGCollege.com. Our inbox is powered by the Wake Forest alumni. Now back to the voice of the Deeks, Stan Cotton.
All right, inbox is open, and a couple of questions coming your way. Every sack is a sack to give back. For every sack the Demon Deeks make this season, Food Lion Feeds will donate 1,000 meals to feed our neighbors in need right here in Winston-Salem through the Second Harvest Food Bank of Northwest North Carolina. This is an easy deal. It's easy multiplication. Against the Tigers, Wake had 3 sacks, so that's 3,000 meals donated, and that is a very, very good thing. All right, Coach, to the inbox. Let's start with Matt, his email. What can the stadium staff do, if anything, at Truist Field to create a home field advantage despite there being no fans there? I thought the stadium looked great. The presentation was fantastic. And there was some crowd noise that I guess maybe you and Davo agreed on the level of how loud it was going to be. But it's hard. That's a hard thing, isn't it, to have any kind of advantage other than the other team several hours away from home. But any thoughts on that, Dave?
I thought our game day staff did an incredible job. Just all the banners that were up, the cutouts of the people, all the people who were generous that, put a picture of themselves on a cutout. Given the circumstances we're in, I'd have a hard time thinking of anything they could have done better. It really, it's not as good, obviously, without the fans. We love our Deacon supporters and our fans, and especially miss the students being there. But given the COVID and the pandemic, I thought our staff did an incredible job for us.
Yeah, the declones were great. The virtual activities prior to the game were, I think, fantastic, and a lot of those things will, I think, continue. What was your take, Dave, on it? It's had to be odd, though, didn't it, to be out there and just, a virtually empty stadium. There were a few people about, obviously, but what was that like? I mean, just another crazy thing here in 2020.
Yeah, when I first got in the coaching stand, before there was 12 games, you used to be allowed to have a scrimmage, and you'd scrimmage an opponent, and you wanted to win that game, and you were competitive, but there was no fans there, and it kind of reminded me of almost a scrimmage environment, which obviously a game that counted. When you don't have fans there, it's not the same. The noise is the same for both teams. You agree on it. Even our quarterbacks were saying what was different was sometimes when they throw the ball and then they get hit, they know it's complete or incomplete, or they threw an interception by the reaction of the fans, and just having no idea what happened until they could get up and see that the ball was moved down the field. So there was a lot different with it. Again, it's not the same in any way other than once you kick off, it's still the same schematic football. We are making the very best of a tough situation.
Flip of the coin, you go to a place like Carter Finley now, which usually has great crowds. They love their pack, but it's going to be a big empty building other than the crowd noise. How do you anticipate, or what do you anticipate the difference might be for you now as a road team playing in an environment that's typically very, very hostile, that's not going to be on Saturday night?
Oh, we're going to miss NC State fans. There's especially that's usually on my back left shoulder that he always has some kind, choice words for me every game. So I don't know who that is, what his name is, but I'm certainly going to miss him. He makes me feel important and special every year, and we'll look forward to hearing him again in 2022. But NC State has great fans. They're very passionate, and it makes it a fun place to play. That's one of the places in the league that our players really look forward to going to, because it's always an energetic crowd.
Martha just shot in a quick question. What was it like to have game day there? Obviously, we talked about the national attention the game had, and but that was a first, and that was great having them there. And they were there 2 or 3 days getting ready, and I watched pretty much every minute of their show. Went very well, and they were talking about the Deeks a lot, so it was a good thing.
Yeah, and they're talking about Wake Forest University, and the branding for our program, our athletic department, the entire university, the Winston-Salem community. That's invaluable. And we're grateful that game day came. We're grateful ESPN chose us. And now our goal is to play well enough and to play in those type of games that when the pandemic's over and, COVID doesn't exist to the level it does now, they'll come back here with fans. So we got them here once. Our goal is to get them here back and let the students and all of our fans experience the full aspect of it.
Yeah, they'll be back. All right, Coach, another email inside the Wake Forest alumni inbox comes from Dwight. Says he notices that Boogie Basham blocks on the field goal or maybe the extra point team. What makes him a better fit there in that role compared to another offensive lineman?
Well, I mean, Boogie is tall. He's got really long arms. He's 280 pounds. And, with PAT field goal, you really want to spread it out and make it hard to get off the edge. And he also has an eligible number. So in the event that, we usually use all of our tight ends and some of our more athletic defensive ends. So it's Boogie's combination of strength and size, and the fact that he's a really good athlete, that if, we ever wanted to run a fake, or if we had a bad snap that became a scramble, he's a guy that we can release and throw him the ball. And, when you have a talent like that, Chris Jones, who played for me at Bowling Green, who won a Super Bowl ring, was our strongest, most powerful player in the program. We used him on PAT field goal because that's just be tough for 1.2 seconds, and Boogie can certainly do that.
Yeah, and you let Boogie do whatever Boogie wants to do, right? He's that kind of guy.
Well, let's not say that on the air. I mean, off the record, yes, but we don't want him to know that.
Okay, exactly. He knows it, trust me. Okay, our final timeout, another question or two when we come back, and then the Dave Clawson Show number 3 will be in the books. We will be right back after you hear this.
This season, there's one thing I'm looking forward to. Yeah, that. And the great game day food. We can still celebrate big because I shop at Food Lion. Like topping my sliders with bacon and cheese, adding a twist to my guac with roasted tomatoes, turning up the heat on my hot wings with jalapeno poppers on the side, and I'll pick up some treats in the bakery.
Food Lion's got the fun and affordable food you need to keep your game day spirit high, because this is our home. And that's our Food Lion.
This football season, prepare your taste buds for the most iconic sports watching drink of all time, Pepsi. With refreshing deliciousness specially formulated to keep your eye on the ball and mouth-watering fizziness to help you power through game day, Pepsi has everything you need to start strong.
I used to care when Mike cheered so hard he spilled nacho cheese on my carpet, but thanks to Pepsi, even Mike can't ruin my football party.
So this football season, make Pepsi your go-to game day drink because it's the only drink made for football watching. Pepsi, that's what I like.
Coverage of Wake Forest football with head coach Dave Clawson continues after this word from your local station. This is Wake Forest football from Learfield IMG College.
Can't make it to Truist Field this season, but don't want to miss a second of the Wake Forest football season? The new Deacon Virtual Season Ticket is your answer. Exclusive videos, photos, written content, and digital experiences delivered right to your computer and mobile device. Activate the premium level membership for only $179. Visit godeeks.com/virtual ticket to activate your Deacon Virtual Season Ticket today.
It's back, the return of the prestigious Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, honoring college sports excellence across all competitive divisions, both men's and women's sports. Follow along with L Directors Cup on Twitter or online to see which schools will be taking home a first place trophy in June for their season-long success. Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, a premier institutional award jointly launched in 1993 by USA Today and NACDA.
All right, final few minutes tonight on the Dave Clawson Show. It'll be Wake Forest at NC State on Saturday night down in Raleigh, 8 o'clock Eastern Time kick. We're back on the radio at straight up 7 o'clock. Coach, a couple of questions here. One, Kelly says the first field goal attempt was on 4th and 1, pretty deep in Clemson territory. How tempted were you to maybe go for that 4th and 1 there?
Very tempted. I just wanted to get points on the board. It was one of those games that you need to try to stay in it. And I think we were down 14-0 at the time. And I just thought if we could come away with points and get some points on the board and give us a chance to stay in the game. And obviously that decision didn't pan out.
I think State got a little fingernail, something like that on the kick. And it was kind of a line drive kick anyway. But and I didn't, and I made a mistake by not mentioning that, Dayton Diemel wasn't there and, Don Maggio wasn't holding. Your battery was a little bit different. I don't know if that had an effect at all on Nick Skiba, but those are two big positions that we're so used to seeing that weren't there the other night.
Yeah, I mean, Dayton and Dom worked together every day for 4 years, and Nick was the beneficiary of that the last two. Mike Weaver before that. But I'm sure there's a part of Nick that's not as comfortable with it as he was with Dom and Dayton. And that was one of those batteries that getting Murph to hold in spring football and then getting Jacob here in the summer, that's when all those reps happen, when those guys are here on their own working out in the months of May, June, July, and we missed all that time. We'll get there, but it takes reps. And, to be honest with you, that went into my thinking a little bit, even kicking field goals at the end. I mean, normally when you're down like that, you're going to go for it on 4th down. But I wanted that battery of Jacob Zur, to Zach Murphy, to Nick Skiba, to just get a few more game reps. And so they became more comfortable with it. And him hitting that last field goal, I think, again, did it have a huge impact on the score? No. But I think it did a lot for all their confidence saying, okay, we got this down. Let's go now.
Coach Bob says A.T. Perry reminds him of a young Scotty Washington, but he thought he seemed a little bit nervous to start the game. Then he settled in. What do you think the upside is to A.T. Perry?
I think he's got a huge upside. And, as I mentioned earlier, I mean, his first game starting reminded me a little bit of Scotty's first game. Scotty was there in, 16, and we opened the Tulane game, and Scotty didn't look comfortable. It's the first game he started and played, and we knew what Scotty was capable of. But that'll be a great learning experience for Torrey. I think he's going to end up being a big-time player for us, and I think his brighter days are ahead, and he learned a lot in that game, and we'll be better for it.
Coach, the music means we are done in the books for Dave Clawson Show number 3. As always, thank you, sir, for your time. And probably won't see you in person. We'll kind of talk to you sort of kind of after the game virtually, but best of luck against the Pack on Saturday night. I know you're anxious to get down there and see your team for another 4 quarters of football.
We are. We're excited to be playing again and hopefully play a lot better this week.
Carter Finley Stadium, 8 o'clock Eastern Time kickoff. Back on the radio at 7 for the count to the kick. The Deacs and the Pack, one of the longest running college football rivalries out there. You can hear it right here on the Wake Forest Sports Network from Learfield, IMG College. See you Saturday.
You've been listening to the Dave Clawson Show on the Wake Forest Sports Network from Learfield, IMG College. Tonight's show has been sponsored